Now, the interesting thing to understand is that in many circumstances, you'll use a number of image adjustments and pile them on top of each other. Right now, we're using each one separately so you understand what its effect is. So let's go back up. Remember, when I do this for real, I want you to use the adjustments over here, but I'm going through them by list, so it's easier for me to do it from here. Let's go to image adjustments, and we're going to go to vibrance. So vibrance and saturation, it's a lot like lightness and darkness. It's going to make the image more vibrant, more saturated, right? The colors can become more saturated, or I can desaturate and the image can become very desaturated. So I can play with the vibrance and the saturation inside of that image, okay? Click cancel. Image adjustments, hue saturation. So this is an interesting one because what you see down here at the bottom are these two spectrums. And this is the normal spectrum of color. And when I'm grabbing the slider and sliding it, I'm pushing the bottom spectrum into the space of the top spectrum. So in other words, yellow is going where red normally would be, or green is going where blue normally would be. And that's what you're doing when you use the hue saturation slider. That's what it's doing. It's pushing that color into the color space above, okay? And then I can do things like take the saturation and desaturate, or take the lightness and darkness and increase or decrease that. Another interesting trick is anytime I want to reset a tool without closing it, I can just hold down the Alt key and cancel becomes reset. I'm going to hold down the Alt key and reset. Another little trick is Colorize. So I can click the Colorize button and then I can colorize my image. Okay. I'll click cancel. Let's go up to image, adjustments, color balance. So the idea with color balance is you're literally balancing one color against its polar opposite. So cyan versus red, magenta versus green, yellow versus blue. You can think of this two ways. One is that there's too much blue, so I want to push it towards yellow. Or the other way to think of it is I want to have more blue in the image, so I'm just going to push it towards blue. So here's yellow, blue. So that's, I'm pushing it more towards yellow. I'm pushing it more towards blue. And in this case, these adjustments are highly subjective. In other circumstances, there may be a more correct approach. Right now, I'm just showing you how the tools work. Magenta versus green, cyan versus red. Okay, and then I can even apply them in the shadows, the midtones, and the highlights inside of the image. Okay, click cancel. Image adjustments, black and white. So this is, I call this my little Ansel Adams generator, because Ansel Adams was so great at making these really rich black and white images, and this is way before Photoshop. But what this allows me to do, when I make a black and white image, I'm taking the color and I'm remapping it into values of gray. And this is saying, where do I want those values to go? Where do I want the reds in this picture to go? Where do I want the yellows in this picture to go? Where do I want the greens? There's no green in here. Where do I want the blues in this picture to go, right? And the interesting thing about black and white pictures is that you can increase the contrast and push the contrast far beyond what you would be able to do with a color photo. I'm going to reset that, hit the Alt button and click reset. There's also another hue tint thing here down, very similar to what we had in the hue saturation slider, where I can make a tinted photograph. Okay, increase or decrease the saturation. Let's click cancel. Image adjustments, photo filter. So the idea with this is that if you have a camera you'll put a filter in front of your camera to make it warmer or make it cooler. And that's what this approximates: warming filters, cooling filters. And then after that, they're just little slides of color that you're slapping in front of the image that has a tinge. If I want it to be bluer or more violet or more magenta or whatever the case may be. And then I can increase and decrease the density of that element placed on top. And I can even pick my own particular color. And so that's approximating the filter that would be placed upon the lens of a camera. Cancel image adjustments, channel mixer. So the channel mixer, you're looking at, this is actually the way color is often used in printing, where I have a color and then I have the percentages of the other colors that are mixed into it. So here I'm looking at the red channel and I can increase the amount of green in the red channel. Or I can go to the green channel. I can, so green, of course, being, it should be the most prominent, but I can adjust how much red or green is in, or blue is in the green channel. And then same thing with blue. I can adjust how much blue or red or green is in that blue channel, okay? And then, of course, in addition to that, you have the ability to create infrared and various filters of infrared, which is a type of film. Okay, let's click cancel. Image adjustments, color lookup. So lookup tables are a whole nother ball game, and we'll come back in the advanced portion of color lookup. But basically, the lookup table is a profile that you can load, and that profile applies a look to my image, and I can go up to the web and I can download LUTs or lookup tables, and these are the ones that are already in here. Now remember that when I apply these, you know, it's coming on like gangbusters, right? Maybe that's too harsh, right? I'm going to undo that, but I can always do other things. I can redo that, and then I can come up to fade. Remember that option? I can fade that application or run it through a blending mode. Okay. Image adjustments. So that's everything in that category. I'm going to undo the last edit. Oh, the other way you could do that is to copy the layer and then apply. Let's do we're doing a lookup table, image adjustments, lookup table, and we loaded a LUT. This little one that's really kind of, okay. So now I've loaded this LUT and I've got it on the top layer, and I can blend it into the bottom layer by just adjusting the opacity of the top layer or the fill of the top layer. All right, so those are some different ideas about how you can use image adjustments. And we're going to continue going through all the ones and each of the categories. Let's stop here. We'll come back on the other side.